It's a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you. It's another 5 years, so it's another Tommy Boy discussion. It's just a classic that stays in the zeitgeist, which I'd say several of your films do. But let's get into this one. You mentioned at one point, I think in the commentary track, that Chris Farley, there was that cartwheel scene. He just kept trying to get it right, even though it probably was right. Was he often self-critical like that, or would you call him a perfectionist? And did that affect the production in any way?
He was definitely a perfectionist, and he was very athletic. And he, would do all of his own stunts. And that particular day, I remember doing the cartwheels down the hallway after he graduated. He was not satisfied with the way it was going, and he was getting very flustered. And so I sort of decided I was going to try to treat him a little bit like, a football player. And I told him to, do 20 push-ups and calm down, then run around the courtyard. And it worked. And he came back and, he was breathing hard and he was calmed down. And I said, okay, when you're ready, we'll try it again. And it was that physicality. I just sort of recognized him, as an athlete, that sometimes he just needed to, to calm down physically, and that would help his acting.
Yeah, it's kind of melancholic for someone who's so talented to be so self-critical. Um, what were ways you helped encourage him or sort of convinced him that he did it? He got the take.
Well, we had a lot of time spent together up in Toronto. We had a lot of dinners. We went out a lot, and I think just talking about his family, talking about his father, I think, and talking about how there were a lot of people who were naysayers about our movie because it wasn't based on existing, I should say, SNL characters. And also at the time, the ratings for Saturday Night Live were at some of their lowest. So there was a lot of pressure. And I think realizing that we were both in it together, as well as Spade, it kind of gave us a bond that was calming in itself. For all of the crap that was going on, with production not having a script, which drives every department head nuts because what are we shooting tomorrow? There was a calmness just of our unity that we were doing this together, and it meant a lot. It wasn't just a job. This was a pivotal point in all of our careers.
Was was he really happy with the movie? Just like almost everyone, I there's this infamous review from Roger Ebert that's just brutal, and he played Roger Ebert in SNL,
Yeah.
and gave him. He was great at it. I wonder if that review was ever discussed, or if Ebert and Farley or you had ever spoken with each other after that.
No, but here's the thing. The big quote that I do remember from that interview, he said, "Not one quotable line in the movie." Well, okay, there you go. And that's how accurate the rest of that review is.
Yeah, he also didn't like Clockwork Orange or Straw Dogs or so.
Yeah.
It's up in the air. But was Farley someone who looked at the reviews and did that sort of feed into that criticism of himself?
I don't really remember how he felt about the reviews. I don't think any of us were thrilled, but comedies often don't get good reviews, and even Saturday Night Live, even winning a zillion Emmys, doesn't always get good reviews. I think, and the fact that here we are talking about this movie 30 years later, sometimes you wonder, what reviews are for. Uh, but bottom line is we are celebrating this. It lives on, which is wonderful for Chris. That now there are new generations that are getting to experience, his talent.
And I mean, the new 4K release is beautiful. It has a lot of great special features. I think some were done for the previous release. But on the commentary track, you mentioned in the wonderful housekeeping scene that Chris Farley devised a sort of R-rated alternative that you didn't mention there. Are you able to share that at all with us?
Oh, sure. We always tried different jokes. And when Chris was answering the door, for David's housekeeping, he was wearing a bed sheet around him. We said, okay, when he's going to drop the sheet and say, "Oh, Richard, hold me." Okay, the first one's going to be he's going to have underwear on, but it's going to be really, tighty whities, and you'll see his crack and whatever. The next one will change the kind of underwear to see if that, might get a better laugh. And then the third one, let's try no underwear at all. It'll just be a butt shot. And I said, and Chris, for the love of God, don't turn around. Let it just be your back. And of course, you know what happened. So he not only, when I yelled cut, turned around, but started dancing. And we lost it because it was hilarious. But I also said, take the film out of that camera right now. We're not sending that back to Paramount.
Yeah, I'd love to see him do the flash dance one.
Yeah.
That's Oh, that's great. And there were stories too. I think David Spade said on one of the late night shows that they had this little, almost like Real Housewives spat over over Rob Lowe.
Yeah.
Uh, because Chris was jealous of something that they were hanging out without him. Did you harness the energy from that, or have to separate them at all, or where did that come from?
Well, it's true. They were best friends, but they were also like an old married couple, Dave and Chris. And when Chris found out that the night before Rob and Dave went out to dinner, the next day he was like, "How was your dinner with Rob?" And he was like, "Are you seriously upset about that?" And he was. And apparently, I wasn't there for this, but they got into I think he stepped on Dave's hand when he was trying to eat a tuna fish sandwich, and they got into a tussle. And by the time they got to set, I had just heard a little bit about this. They were breathing hard, but I thought, okay, ready to work? Yeah. And we just went back to work. So, yeah.
Do you remember the scene at all that you just went right into it?
That I cannot remember. But when I kept hearing about this now infamous, fight that they had over Rob, I mean, I laugh at it because it's hilarious, but no, I don't remember what we were filming actually that day.
Yeah, it is adorable. And is there any footage at all? I'm sorry if I didn't see it in the deleted scenes of Lowe being attacked over and over again. I know you had to cut some of that. Does that exist at all?
I'm sure it does exist. Yeah, there was a lot of Wile E. Coyote stuff with him trying to blow up the water tower at Callahan Auto, and it was an all-night shoot, and it was freezing cold, and I feel terrible. And he was smoking a Cuban cigar because you could actually get Cubans up in Toronto, and he got nauseous from that. So he literally, I think he signed my poster saying something like, "Thanks for beating the shit out of me, your friend Rob."
And he didn't even get the credit. And I know there's funny things about that. Well, thank you so much for discussing it. Are you looking forward to the biopic? Do you think Paul Walter Hauser is a good choice?
Yes, I do. I actually just met him at the 50th SNL 50th, and we talked a little bit about that. And so I told him if he wants to hear any stories about the man, let me know.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for discussing it. Classics, all of your stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate it, my friend.
Thank
Really.
you.
Thank you.
Take care.